Our next topic to discuss is URL filtering profile in Palo Alto Firewall. URL we already know, Uniform Resource Locator. We can use this URL filtering profile in Palo Alto Firewall to block the outgoing communication to malicious URL or websites. And this way we can reduce the risk of infection from dangerous websites such as phishing URL, malware URL, and many other. And we can protect our inside user whenever they do communication to outside, most probably to the internet. So we can use this URL filtering profile in Palo Alto Firewall to control the web browsing based on the contents. Based on the contents means there are many categories. If we go to object and URL filtering, so there is many categories. If I click, there is by default one. So there is such as dynamic DNS, education, gambling, games, grayware. You can see a lot of military, medium risk, malware. All these things are there which you can block, weapons or many more. So we can protect our inside user based on the contents using this URL filtering profile. And this way it will automatically prevent attack from outside to your inside. Also, this URL filtering can check the phishing link, malware websites, malicious sites, and those URL which carry exploit kits. As I just show you, there are many categories to protect using this URL filtering profile. Keep in mind this Palo Alto network URL filtering support two types of databases, Bright Cloud and Pen database. If I go back and let me check, it requires a license by the way. Let me go to devices and licenses. So here you will see PenDB URL filtering. And it can support the other one with Bright Cloud as well. In my case, I have Pen database URL filtering. So keep in mind it requires a license. Even though without license is also possible, but you need to create your own categories. There are by default many categories such as allow category, alert category, continue category, block category, and so on, and many other. But if you don't have a license, you need to create your own category and you can call them in your policy to block. Now, there is a predefined read-only profile already for you and URL filtering. Yeah, it's there, the default one. And I cannot modify because it's read-only, it's written read-only. However, I can clone them. You just need to clone and now you can modify this one. Okay, there is all these and you can change alert, allow, block, continue, override. We will discuss about this a bit later. And you can change the site access as per your company requirement. Maybe some company they don't want social networking, but the other company may they require. So you can allow, deny as per your company requirement. So there is by default one already. Let me delete this one, which you can clone them and you can use as per your requirement. And whatever the company internet security policies they want, so you can modify. So this is the way we have security policy rule. If it is denied, it means you cannot go. However, if you want to use security policy and if the traffic is allowed, then you can attach URL filtering profile there as well. By the way, there are many methods we will discuss. If you go to policies, Okay, and let's suppose if I click on any policy and go to services, you see inside the security policy we have URL categories as well. Here is, we have all those security URL category here as well. You can call them here. However, you need to take action allowed or deny in this case. Also, you can attach this to, if I click LAN to internet, an action, and if I choose here the profile, so here you have URL filtering profile as well. So you have different option to utilize the URL filtering. However, mainly we want to focus, if you have a allowed policy, at the end you can attach, you can apply URL filtering profile. So match to predefined or custom URL category as per your setting. So the action can be allow, block, ask user permission, and log traffic. So what you can do is, I'm talking about that if you have URL filtering profile, in this case default suppose, so abortion is allowed, this category, abuse drug is block, similarly adult is block. Okay, so if I attach this one to my policies, suppose LAN to internet, and if I go to action, and from here suppose profile, and I choose URL filtering, and I choose a default. So if I go to any adult content, it will be block. Even the action in the policy is allow, but this is the security policy rule allow. After that, it will carry on the URL filtering, and as per the URL filtering, it will block that adult URL website, because we have deny the traffic there in our category. So it can be allowed, it can be blocked, it can be ask user permission, and log traffic. Now we have URL categories, policies, and with the security profile. As I show you, you can use URL category and a policy. When you have security policy rule, you can go to services URL category, and here you can block or allow the categories as per your company requirement. So if I go to any, suppose LAN to DMZ, and here we have category, suppose I want to abortion, suppose. What action I want to take? I need to block this one, drop. Here I choose abortion. Similarly, if suppose adult, so it will be block as well, drop. And then if I go to any other action, maybe I want to block this one. So you can call these category URL category inside your security policies. This is one way. However, you need to take action here. Second way, which we can apply this URL filtering security profile to allow security policy. Now, if I want in different way, then delete all these and go to action. Action should be allowed now, and then choose from here profile and attach URL filtering profile here. Now in this default, you need to take action against those abortion and all those things there. Objects, and here you have adult, you can choose and you can change this as per your requirement. This one is more better. You have more control and better to apply this method rather than the inside policy. However, you have an option. So we have two different way. Okay. However, the most probably one is this one. For this, your security policy must be allowed, and after that you need to choose profile, and then you can attach your URL filtering profile. Now in the case of alert, block, continue, and override, there will be logs generated. If I go back, okay, and let me go to objects, default, and if I click here, okay, let me make a clone of this so that I can show you, and click default one and click abortion and choose. So we have alert, we have allow, we have block, we have continue, and we have override. So in the case of alert, block, continue, and override, there will be logs generated, and those logs will, when we go to monitor and there is URL filtering, here you will see the logs. In the case of these, which one? Alert, block, continue, and override. And action that require user interaction are continue and override. Now these two require action of user. This point is clear, yeah? In the case of alert, in the case of block, in the case of continue, in the case of override, it will generate logs, and those logs will be here when you go to monitor and URL filtering. Here you will see them. Now coming to the second point. The second point, I'm saying that in the case of continue and override, if you have choose the site access, continue or override, and these two cases, user interaction is required, user input is required. Now log that initial blocking action and the successful user action, the firewall add block, continue, and continue logs entries. Maybe in some case we initially block, suppose, and continue and override because the user will take an action. So the firewall will add block, continue, and continue log entries in that case. If I have somewhere, so let me see if we have, or we can see from here as well. So there will, okay, this one is reset both. However, I am saying that initial blocks, such as sometime if you choose an action override or continue, in that case the user input is required. So initially the firewall will add a block, continue, and continue logs entry, which I will show you. Just keep in mind these three things, okay? Next, the URL filtering order. URL filtering order, how they will follow. So the first thing is the block list. Manually enter the block URL. That will be the first one to follow. Maybe you have a rule where you have a manually enter block URL, and maybe there is a custom URL category where the same URL, the traffic is allowed. So how the URL filtering will follow your order? So this is the order. The first thing, block list. Manually you enter block URL. Where? Here, which we will see later on. Then allow list. Maybe manually you enter allow URL here. Then custom category. User defined custom URL category. You create your custom URL category. After that, the cached URL learn from external dynamic list. Then predefined category. Maybe they have predefined category by PenOS, a database, or Bright Cloud, whatever you are using. Now this was all about the URL filtering order. First it will check the manually enter blocked URL, then manually enter allowed URL, then custom category, then the cache from external dynamic list, then the predefined category. Now coming to, we can choose these action. Block, the website is blocked and the user will see a response page and will not be able to continue the website. Keep in mind, this is called block. Because I show you here, if we go back to our objects, so these are the action which we can take. We have allow, we have alert, we have block, we have continue, and we have override. So in the case of block, the website will be blocked. There will be a response page displayed to the user, and they will not be able to continue the website. That's it. And the logs will be generated. The logs will be generated and monitor. Second is override. The user will see a response page. However, they can put the password and they can continue. And the logs entry will be generated also in this case. Then we have a continue. The user will be prompted with a response page that the URL has been blocked due to company policy. However, you have an option to continue. Again, a log entry will be generated as well. Then we have an alert. The website is allowed and log entry is generated. But the website is allowed, by the way. And finally, we have allow. So the website is allowed and no logs entry will be generated. So these are the different actions which we can take against the URL. The block, so the website is blocked and you don't have an option to continue. And the logs will be generated. Override, you have an option to continue. You just need to put in password and you can continue. And the response page will be displayed in this case as well. And the logs will be generated. Similarly, in continue, you don't need to put any password. You just need to click to continue. There will be a response page as well. And also the logs will be generated. Alert, there is no response page. The website is allowed and the logs entry will be generated. Allow, the website will be allowed. There is no response page and no logs will be generated. So this was all about the URL filtering. So in the next video, I will show you different way to configure URL filtering.